From now on, this powerful, beautiful and most certain person will truly be a partner. Miss Ryu has joined the Hestia family. Our family has grown again. Elf Koen, you are such a good girl. You are worthy of being a member of Astria's family. Unlike a sneaky cat, I can now safely leave Belkoen in your care. What are you talking about, Hestia-sama? It's not because you always want to run away. Haruheim Koen too, your natural behavior without any malice is even worse. Shut up. Great for being polite and consistent. Elf Koen, if you have something to say, just tell me. I'm very optimistic about you. Hestia praised Ms. Ryu and praised her incessantly. In response to this, Lily said, the difference in treatment is too big, and continued arguing. Miss Haruheim was also affected for some unknown reason, and it immediately turned into the same bickering scene as always. Miss Mikoto hurriedly took a step to stop her, while Welf was speechless. I was thinking, I wonder if Miss Ryu, who is serious by nature, can adapt to this kind of atmosphere. I was a little worried, but at this moment. Well, we actually have something to do now, okay? Hestia and the others instantly stopped, and then Mrs. Ryu made a request. As for the problems that will arise when I join the group, or rather, it is a request from the guild, hoping to change the name. What does that mean? After all, on the surface, Gale Wind is considered dead. The goddess Hestia tilted her head, and after hearing what she said, I roughly understood what was going on. In the case of the destroyer, Gale Wind was considered dead. But in the war game that was broadcast to the entire city, Mississippi Ryu gave a very notable performance. Actually, this matter has been smoothed over, but, after all, the managing agency has issued an official statement, so for the sake of appearance, I hope not to use it when registering as an adventurer. Real name, Ryu Leon. It seems like the gods are having fun, and the residents of Hotel Labyrinth Street are covering it up, so now it's like, Gale Wind, is dead, so it must not be that name. What are you talking about? But I realized that it wasn't. There are few people who know the truth, no matter what. Although he is considered dead and his name has been removed, it is still quite embarrassing for the guild to see a person who was once blacklisted openly. Therefore, due to her contribution to the suppression of the Dark Period and political reasons like not being able to leave the super valuable level 6 idol, the guild's governing body seemed like they were begging her to at least change the name. That means you have to register with the guild under a false name, right? You are not transferring from the Astria family, but you are a newbie adventurer with unknown experience. Being a new adventurer at level 6 seems really ridiculous. But, it's nothing like that, right? It's just a name change on the document, it won't change your real name either. Lily agreed, making Ms. Mikoto broke out in a cold sweat, and the goddess Hestia expressed her understanding. Of course we didn't have any objections, so together with Ms. Ryu, who said, "Thank you very much," we started thinking of names for the new members. Well, you don't need to change your entire name, right? Yes, just change the last name, right? If possible, I would also like to throw Kratzo out. As for Ryu Leon-sama, just change it. My surname. How about borrowing your surname from Miyadano and becoming Ryu Grandedano? It seems a little too wild. Elf Koen, what do you want to change? What's your last name? Well, I, Miss Haruheim, Miss Mikoto, and Lily were sitting in a circle on the grass in the atrium, racking our brains and thinking, while Hestia quickly asked. At this moment, Miss Ryu, who was sitting upright, was stunned for a while, and then looked at me, acting suspiciously for some reason. She looked both ways, blushing and whispering, "Ryu crony." The goddess Hestia walked around behind her with great speed and quickly equipped it in her right hand. The sandals hit Ms. Ryu in the back of the head and made a sharp sound. I thought you were the only one who wasn't like that. No, that's not the case. Since you want to join the family clan, and borrowing a god's name is too scary, then naturally you should borrow the leader's surname. Your evil lying thoughts, I can see it clearly, you worthless elf. Please calm down, Hestia-sama. Facing Hestia, who was shaking her sandals and shouting loudly, Miss Ryu rubbed the back of her head and tried to defend herself. It seems reasonable, but it still feels quite strong. The goddess looked like she was going to expel Miss Ryu, who rarely managed to join the group. Miss Mikoto did her best to stop her. Lily stood next to the goddess, and Miss Haruheim. So you are in a dilemma, not knowing what to do. The base atrium suddenly became noisy. Miss Ryu is still trying to defend herself. Until now, I always thought that she was very majestic, beautiful. But for some reason, she suddenly feels like a loser. It seems like she can adapt faster than I thought. With a bit of escapism, I nodded in agreement with wealth. Ryu Astria. I shouldn't say that, but I really don't want to hide it. After accepting the new adventurer's documents from me, Mississippi Ina said with a wry smile. This is the guild headquarters, in the private room used for conversations. The post-processing of the war game has finally come to an end, so I came to visit Miss Ina, and I also came to make several reports and discuss some things. I was taken to the very soundproof room I was using. After the two of them laughed dryly across the table for a while, I sat down again. Ms. Ina. So, from now on, our family will be. Well. This is the official warning from the guild. I took a stance like a defendant awaiting trial in a court of law. Miss Ina handed over a piece of parchment with both hands. Covered with the guild's crest, the paper read. Hestia Familia has been promoted to Class B, congratulations. B. I was promoted from level D to level B in one fell swoop. Our family, even including Ms. Ryu, are only 6 people. Well, I know that very well, but we have 2 first level. An adventurer and a faction with level 6, there's really no way to think that he's not lower than level B. I asked cautiously with the latter glimmer of hope. Miss Ina, who had a somewhat solemn tone when announcing the official notification just now, also at this moment, a rather difficult expression appeared on her face. There are also many opinions that it should not be B, but should be promoted to A, right? She said that, and I naturally couldn't argue with it. The largest faction in the city, Loki family, is S, and the Ishtar family faction that was a no longer exists today. This comparison shows how heavy the evaluation of level B is. Whether it is Loki or Ishtar, they are all large-scale factions, and the number and quality of its members are far beyond the ordinary. A super small number of elite factions. Hestia Familia seems to be positioned like this now. Not long ago, it was a super small faction. Now he has huge debts. Hestia insists it is her own loan. Anyway, in short, the taxes to be paid to the guild will increase sharply now. You can easily imagine Lily crying in despair, it's so uncomfortable. As the leader of the group, I recently started leafing through the faction's accounting books. You could say it's so miserable that I can only laugh dryly. A large portion of the rewards from the war game itself are distributed to other factions. Like the cost of the Mayak family's silver prosthesis. Apart from the level of composition of the group members, the biggest reason is. Do you think that Goddess Freya has become God Hestia'S follower, even though this place is well soundproofed, in a room where no one could be heard? Mississippi Ina even brought her face closer and naturally lowered her voice. Exactly. On the surface, Freya Familia has been disbanded, but in truth, it must be said that Lady Freya, and now Miss Familia, has been disbanded. Seer directly joined Lady Hestia'S banner. It seems that the Freya warriors' enormous combat power will never be abandoned. These sincere and true ideas conflicted with each other, and the final compromise was Hestia becomes the virgin goddess of Orario. If the garden is purified by the virgin goddess Hestia, even if something goes wrong, it can still function as a safety device for the goddess of beauty. And if Seer can obey the goddess Hestia's instructions, even if just for a moment, Mr. Otter and the others will not escape out of the city. There will even be contributions towards exploring the maze. Therefore, they are just in the position of terrible tavern workers on the surface or family members waiting to be converted who will never accept recruitment. In short, this seems to be the judgment of the guild leaders. There was a lot of political stuff involved, so I didn't understand even half of it.